Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. This is Veronica Burnett, your speaker, advocate, coach, and everything else author, friend, supporter, encourager, whatever it is that you need. I am here today with my special guest, Miss Michelle Jackson of Reasons to Hope Foundation. And today we are going to be talking about mental health awareness, mental illness, and the not so obvious mental illnesses out there. We're going to address specifically gambling. But before I get too far ahead of myself, I want you to know that Coffee, Tea, and Me was designed and created almost a year ago. I cannot believe we are coming up on a year. Thanks, Michelle, for reminding me of that. It was created so that we can have a safe space as women to talk about different things that concern us, issues that are holding us back from being our greatest selves and from running towards the things and our plans and desires, that destiny that's out there waiting for us. So we come together in a safe space, usually on Zoom, not always on Facebook Live, and we talk it out. But then at the end, we make sure we leave with resources and tools to help us guide ourselves in a different directions, to help us heal and be delivered from whatever it is that's holding us back so that we can create and change the trajectory of our lives. We can create a better life for ourselves, hence better days. Um, so today we're talking about mental health awareness, and I have a few things that I'm going to just share with you that I've found in my research, and then Michelle and I are going to talk and share with you different things that Reasons to Hope is doing this month around mental health, mental illness, and specifically gambling. But I do want to let you know that neither of us are clinicians. This conversation does not replace you getting professional help. It is not a place to diagnose you. We are sharing information with you today so that you can become aware and see what is going on around you and maybe help someone else, maybe even save your own life. So, today we're talking about Mental Health Awareness Month, and the reason or purpose that it was created is to raise awareness and educate the public about mental illness, such as the 18.1% of Americans who suffer from depression, schizophrenia, and bipolar disorders. The reality of living with these conditions and strategies for attaining mental health and wellness. That is the reason why this month was created, to bring awareness to what we put on the back burner, what we close our eyes to, what we see as taboo in some families. I know many of us have seen or know of different people who suffer from illnesses, and we don't know the name of them, but we know that they are different in some way. The thing is not to shy away from it, not to pretend like it doesn't exist or give them a label or a title that belittles them or makes them feel less than human. So, our purpose today is to take those stigmas off, to take the taboo away from it, and help us all to be healthy and whole so that we are more educated and empowered to help each other grow. So, Michelle, do you want to add anything in it before I keep going?
I think you're doing great. I think
Okay.
you can keep going because this is
Okay.
helpful.
Okay, cool. So some of the most common disorders that we know of, and yes, I do take notes. In my heart, I am a teacher. I should have been an English teacher, but God saw differently. I'm a teacher of many things. So I have notes all the time. All right. So I want to read to you from the website NAMI.org. This is just what I found there. Okay. The most common that we know of are anxiety disorders, behavioral and emotional disorders in children. We are quick to label some as bad, as hyper, but they may have anxiety. Some may be shy. That's what we see it as, but it could be something totally different. And until we learn more about behaviors and the different disorders out there, we can can't properly help our children and ourselves. But they do exist in children, and not all children have ADHD. I will just say that some of them have other disorders, and it is important to have them properly diagnosed. Bipolar affective disorder, depression. So I'm going to stop there for just a moment, and I'm going to read the definition of depression and tell you why I'm stopping there in just a second. Depression is a mood disorder characterized by lowering of mood, loss of interest and enjoyment, and reduction in energy. It is not just feeling sad. I'll say that again. It is not just feeling sad. There are different types and symptoms of depression. There are varying labels of severity and symptoms related to depression. Symptoms of depression can lead to the increased risk of suicidal thoughts and behaviors. I want to stop there because the mission of Better Days is to reach people who have been through traumatic life situations. For instance, myself, who has experienced domestic violence and other types of abuse. There are other women out there who suffer from this. There are men who suffer from domestic abuse. There are children who have experienced or been a part of it and have witnessed it. And it can lead to depression if it is not addressed. This depression is not, oh, my boyfriend left me, my husband left me, my children are upset. It is not that kind of sadness. It is an overwhelming heaviness that we feel. And until we can talk about it, we hold on to it. I know of a lady who was depressed for a while. She sat on the side of her bed every day, looking out of the window, watching everybody else live. She had no energy and no drive to do anything for herself other than get up, take a shower, get dressed, and do the daily things that she needed to do in the house just to survive. Some can't even do that. And that is what depression can do to you. I want to let you know that there is help and there is hope for you. And you don't have to stay in that state of depression. There is help. So hold on to that. The next one is dissociation and dissociative disorders, eating disorders. And we will talk a little about that today. Obsessive compulsive disorders. Sometimes my words get stuck behind these braces, okay? Paranoia, post-traumatic stress disorders. It is not just for those who have been in the military and have experienced that type of PTSD. Those who have experienced violence of any kind, abuse of any kind, we absolutely experience it. They come in visions, they come in terrors, they come in nightmares, they come in overwhelming thoughts that take over us. What I want you to know is there is hope. There is ways to manage it. There are ways to manage it out there. You have to reach out for help. If family members, loved ones, you see it happening to a family members, say something. Get help for them so that they don't go this downward spiral. The last few are psychosis, schizophrenia, and then I'll let and then we're going to add to it addictions. That is new. Michelle is going to talk more about that. I'm just giving you information, okay? I want you to know that our reason to come together is to talk about this now and share. So, Michelle, I'm going to stop for a second and let you jump in here because I can talk a lot. Trust me, I can.
Absolutely. Thank you for that because um, it is important for us to let everyone know that they are not alone and that um, experiencing anxiety or depression or post traumatic stress um, and a whole range of other mind or mood disorders is not the end of everything. It feels like that it's the end of the world because of the stigma and the
Mhm.
shame that is often associated with being classified as someone's suffering with anxiety or depression, because those all make us feel like, and the images that we see of individuals with those are often negative.
Mhm.
And oftentimes, and the research suggests that people who actually are diagnosed, clinically diagnosed with these disorders, they die 25 years before the average person. So their lifespan is shortened.
Mhm.
And I wanted to also mention traumatic experiences.
Yeah.
And you mentioned children early on, right? As me personally, I was diagnosed at the age of 14 with post traumatic stress disorder and schizophrenia. Because I ran away from home, there was a lot of adverse childhood experiences that happened to me. And we refer to those as ACEs, ACES. Oftentimes, children experience traumatic things early in life, and then without any interventions or treatment or help, they develop into full blown mental illnesses. And I just ended up getting help and then not wanting that help because it seemed like it wasn't help at all. And it wasn't until 14 years later, when I was 28 years old, that I decided to try to get help again. And that was another 14 years of unnecessary suffering, it would seem. But the way I see it now is that it was necessary so that I can share my experience, my strength, and my hope. Because many people, and now the world, because of the pandemic, COVID-19 has caused everyone in the world to experience some form of mental health disorder, be it mild, moderate, or severe. Um, so there is hope, and people need to know that it's okay. All of the shame that has been previously or was previously associated with struggling with anxiety or feelings of anxiousness, um, even depression, also major depression. Once I started getting help, the mental health disorders can evolve into other disorders. So major depressive disorder was also given to me, labeled. I was labeled with that one or diagnosed with that. And of course, I didn't like it. Um, However, what I learned, and I've been writing a book about this experience of mine, is that the acceptance of it, to no longer resist the label, the diagnosis, is the first step in um, getting ahead of it and getting the help and support through with the professionals and others like Veronica and myself, who are advocates and survivors. And there are others in the communities. We have lots of allies. So, yeah, there's more, but it would be good if we could get some questions, direct
Right.
questions.
Yes, if you all have any questions, you can absolutely post them and then give StreamYard permission to post your name, because it won't post unless it has your name there. And so I'm waiting for some comments here. Until then, we will keep going. We'll just keep going. Okay. All right, here you go. It's on here. It says show us. And listen, y'all, this is sort of new for me, StreamYard here, because usually we do this in a safe room on Zoom. So we're doing this live now. And so we're still working out some of the kinks, but you can absolutely post your comments. If you have any comments and I'm not seeing them, go to whatever platform you are on and send a DM, and we will absolutely talk about it. We'll put your question up. I did get a message just recently that someone was having trouble getting on. Just go to Veronica Burnett on Facebook, share that with your friends, share this video out with your friends, the live broadcast, so that people can hear and learn from us today. You said about major depressive disorder and the fact that you reached out 14 years later. I love the fact that you advocated for yourself and you went to get help. What is it that drove you to get help? Because some people won't get help for various reasons.
Repeat that question. I think I heard you correctly, but I want to make sure.
Okay, I asked you what drove you to seek help and advocate for yourself, um,
Perfect.
even after you were diagnosed, but you didn't get help, you didn't want the help. But what pushed you to do it at 28?
I'm glad you asked because that leads to the inclusion of addiction. What I did was I turned to alcohol
Mhm,
and I turned to drugs
mhm,
to serve as medicine
mhm,
to help me cope with all of the traumatic memories that kept resonating when I would attempt to do anything. When I got jobs, when I got pregnant, when I was just trying to really survive.
mhm,
Many of the other people in my community were also involved in consuming, drinking, smoking, coping with their lives. But it was
mhm,
seemed normal and it seemed popular to do. But after a whole 14-year period, I grew very, very tired, Veronica. I
mhm,
grew very, very tired and I was on the brink of death. I was on the brink of death. And I realized that I was actually trying to kill myself, but I was too afraid to slit my wrist or go try to hang myself. When I kept using alcohol after work daily, that's too much alcohol for anybody, but for a woman. When I would go and engage in smoking drugs, um, and it also led to other risky behaviors that I'm not going to reveal here. It's in the book that could have led to premature death for me. And I'm just very thankful that that wasn't my end because I have so many people, relatives included, neighbors, people who have died in their youth prematurely because as a direct result of not getting help. So I was tired and I had turned to the addiction. So not only did I have to get help with my brains and the mental health, but I had to address the substance use that had developed and the eating disorder. It got really complicated. And I didn't know any of that. And because I saw a lot of that and it seemed normal.
mhm. Thank you, Michelle. Um, One thing that I got from what you just said was that if it's not addressed, it can spiral and lead to other things. It's just like, a gateway drug. If you don't address that one, then you keep going and you try something different, you try something more, try something harder. And good morning, everybody that's joining us. Um, if it's left untreated and left unaddressed, then it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And what you said was that it led to addictions and it led to another disorder, an eating disorder. Can you tell us a little about that? Because I don't think that some of us in some communities even realize that we can suffer, like people of color can suffer from eating disorders. Can you tell us about that and what it looked like for you, please?
The eating disorder developed a long time ago as well, because what it looked like was I would binge eat and feel over full, and then go and regurgitate, make myself regurgitate, because I didn't want to gain too much weight. I didn't want to become overweight and obese like I had seen many people in my family, in my neighborhood. But at the root of it, when I started going to Overeaters Anonymous, thank goodness that the doctor I was working with referred me there. I learned through other people sharing their stories about um, eating disorders. I learned that some people don't eat at all. And for me, though, I would eat, but I would also take it out. Is that it's a form at the root of that. For me, it was a form of rejection, self hatred that developed during the early years of my life when I was an adolescent, teenager, because of a lot of those adverse childhood experiences, like molestation, and there were subsequent violations of an abuse, physical abuse, um, sexual abuse, um, a gamut of things that um, was at the root of the eating disorder. But I didn't know that. I was just acting out of the feelings that I was having. So it's important to get help for these issues. And it's
Right.
important to not allow the shame and guilt or stigma from others. Because some people, when they come to know that you're getting help or you've had this um, condition, they will look at you funny, they'll treat you differently. And
Yeah.
those things often will prevent people from getting additional help. Um, Gambling also is a
Mhm.
form of addiction.
Right.
Every time people, we're taking risks every time we take in a drug, every time regurgitating, overeating. That's gambling with your life. We
Yes.
often think of gambling strictly with finances. It cuts across domains and it cuts across um, race, all these differences. We are more alike than different. Let me say that. So that's how the eating disorder looked for me. I'm so grateful. And one of the keys with overcoming it was just verbalizing it, telling somebody, opening up about it, and not keeping it a secret and living with that.
That's it right there. Being bold enough to say it out of your mouth. Because when you say it, it becomes real. It gives it life and it says, okay, I'm now acknowledging this. I'm now saying, I need help with this. And it doesn't make you weak. It does not make a person weak. It it places you in a position where you are now empowered to take control of your life at that point, and that's exactly what you did. You started with verbalizing it first. um, you talked about gambling a little bit, and yes, all of these is a gamble with your life, but I know that you had a little more specific information that you wanted to share about gambling. Did you want to?
About gambling disorder, there is an
Yes.
actual video that
Yes.
was provided. Are you able to? The Maryland Council on Problem Gambling um, partnered with Reasons to Hope Foundation and Better Days. and the National Alliance on Mental Illness to bring information, which we'll be sharing later on. And there is a video. I'm hoping we can show it to you here. But if not here, we'll be happy to send it to your email directly. It's a YouTube video that Dr. Haskins, Deborah Haskins, created. And it was quite informative because I have participated in gambling. I've gone to Las Vegas and I've put money into slots. I've purchased lottery tickets and, with the hopes of winning big. Um, but for me, I wouldn't say that I personally developed a disorder, but many people actually do, to the point of losing their jobs and losing their homes. They began borrowing money from friends and family members in order to continue to gamble or pay gambling debts. And it's I didn't know until now how big of a problem that problem gambling is. And I want to really share that information with as many people as possible because believe it or not, when we're letting our children play with video games, it starts like that as an innocent way. We're actually participating or fostering the development of addiction. And now, gaming, while it is in part entertainment and it keeps us occupied, and we think that we're keeping our children safe or ourselves safe just using our devices and gambling, gaming, sometimes that is the beginning of the development of a gambling addiction and a disorder. And so we have to also include that with mental health, because when we're not able to recognize when something is becoming a problem, an addiction, we need help. So, yeah. Are you able to bring the video up here?
I just found the video. Give me a second to try to share it.
Okay, so I'll continue to talk while Veronica is going to pull up this YouTube video, and I hope that it will be enlightening to you like it was enlightening to me. And I will, as a result of this partnership, I'm going to now continue to include gambling as one of the addictions that we address when we're delivering our programs throughout the year to help raise awareness, to educate the community, and provide resources and information for the public, anyone who wants to get help, and even for the families of people that need help. We don't only seek to help individuals that are struggling with gambling addiction or addiction to alcohol or a specific drug like an opioid or cocaine or heroin, marijuana. I know there's a lot of debates around how addictive marijuana is or harmful. The fact is, a lot of that is being laced with fentanyl, which is a deadly opioid, and or other chemicals, which are contributing to psychosis and causing people to develop mental health issues, mental illnesses. So it's a real problem, and it's better to address them early. The earlier we address them, or at least raise the awareness and the consciousness, the better we're able to help people and maybe start preventing these things from developing.
Michelle, I can't quite figure out how to do it. So everybody, what I was going to say is that if you go to my website, veronicaburnett.com, as soon as you go there, there's going to be a pop-up so that you can enter your information and grab that link for the resources that she provided. And I'm sure that the video is attached to it as well. She has 3 different, no, it's actually there now. So if you go to Veronica Burnett, the pop-up will come up and you'll be able to get both of them at that spot. because I have not quite figured out how to share that video here in StreamYard just yet.
It's
I
okay.
do
We'll
have
get
a
better. We'll
question.
get better
Okay.
at it. There's
I don't
questions.
want
I
to do
see
it.
some questions
Yes, in the chat.
in the
Go.
chat.
There's one from Jay Williamson. Is that the one that you saw?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jay, for joining us. His question: as addiction develops, is it common to lose interest in hobbies and other things you once enjoyed?
Great question, Brother Jay. Yes. Our cousin Jay. Yes, it is absolutely common. In fact, you could pretty much count on that happening. And that's one of the signs. People lose interest in things they once enjoyed, and their hobbies, they sort of abandon them because they're now pursuing whatever chemical, be it liquid, be it a solid or a gas, that it has replaced the hobby or thing of interest. Yeah.
Thank you, Jay, for that question. Here's
Yes.
one from a Facebook user. How would you want a friend to respond if you told them what you were feeling and deep depression and anxiety, that you were feeling deep depression and anxiety? What should a friend say or not say, do or not do? That is an excellent, excellent question, Michelle. I will let you answer first. I'm not going to jump out there. Go
You
ahead.
sure you want me to go first? You want to go first?
I'm sure. Go for it.
Okay. I would want a friend, if I confided that I'm feeling deeply depressed or full of anxiety, I would want the friend to say nothing if they cannot say something to comfort me or share some information that might help me get out of that feeling. Silence is golden. Um, Sometimes just being an ear of empathy will help a person, because oftentimes that is when a person says it, they're asking for help. They're not asking to be lectured. They're not asking to be judged. So do not judge and do not begin to lecture. I told you so. And things like that. If you don't have information, and after this session, you will have information to give if somebody is to confide in you, for sure. But if you don't already have that and you lack the knowledge and you have not experienced it yourself, be an empathetic ear and show love. Um, don't say I understand if you don't understand. Um, yeah, Veronica.
That is a great question. Thank you, Michelle, for helping her, her or him, whoever it is. Thank you, Facebook user, for throwing that out there to us. I agree, Michelle. The one thing that you should not say is, I understand. Even if you have experienced anxiety yourself or deep depression, you don't understand how that other person is feeling, because their experience is them, their emotions are them. What you can say is, tell them, thank you for being brave enough to share that with me and entrusting me with that. And like she said, then you don't have to say anything else. Another thing is, we don't have to be the savior or the person that helps fix them. Ask them, how would you like me to support you? They can tell you what they need. Even if, like, when I talk to my daughter and she's upset about something, well, what do you need from me right now? And she says, I just need a hug. Maybe that person just needs a hug at that point. Or maybe they'll say, listen, I need help. Can you show me the way? And when you click on that link, you're going to get a whole list of ways to get help, resources to get help. You can absolutely help them in that way, but ask them how they need support from you. And by all means, keep it confidential. If they shared it with you, you do not share that with anyone else, I believe, unless they are attempting to hurt themselves or take their lives. But if they have come to you in confidence, hold on to that. Hold on to that. That's what I have so
Yes.
far. Yeah.
Yes, that's good. If you're unless you are a clinician, there's not much else you can do that will be helpful. Um, one of the one of the questions when I was being trained as a peer specialist and a recovery coach was to, if I want to get to know more about that feeling, is to say what happened. Never ask them what's wrong with you. The better way to reframe that question is what happened. Oftentimes there's something happened, either current or past. That's where the post traumatic thing comes from. That is contributing to those deep feelings of sadness, that depression, and that anxiousness, nervousness. Um, so, yeah. And then if they want help, click the links that you're going to get, pick up, and if you call 911, if it's a severe case, someone and looks, if oftentimes when they're depressed, they may not speak at all, they go mute.
Yeah.
And if you find yourself calling 911 in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area, you can ask for a crisis intervention officer. Be sure to ask for that type of officer who has received training in helping individuals who are in a mental health type of crisis. Hopefully, the rest of the police officers and paramedics and all will get the training. But yeah, it's a work in progress.
I forgot about the crisis intervention officers. They are absolutely very helpful. Um, One of the questions I want to go back to Jay's question about losing interest. And so one of the things that I found was the common illnesses, the common signs of mental illnesses that one should look out for in themselves and in a family member. Those who have excessive worrying or fear, feeling excessively sad or low, confused thinking or problems concentrating and learning, extreme mood changes, including uncontrollable highs or feelings of euphoria, prolonged or strong feelings of irritability or anger, avoiding friends and social activities, difficulties understanding or relating to other people. And let me go back to avoiding friends and social activities. I can remember years ago when my friends would ask me to come to baby showers um, and weddings and things like that. Let me tell you, I found every reason not to go. And my reason in my mind was I had all these other things to do, but really it was to stay at home and go to sleep because I did not want to see that. I didn't want to be a part of it because it brought back whatever memories I had. And although it wasn't a deep depression, there was depression there because, and I kept avoiding all of these different people. I didn't want to be around people. And so you look out for that even in yourself. Overuse of substances like alcohol and drugs, inability to perceive changes in one's own feelings or behaviors and personalities. Um, some of the not so obvious signs of, and I'm saying depression, but you can put this in any, you can relate this to anything that you're dealing with in your life. Perfectionism. Those are the not so obvious signs, and I did not know that. Lashing out in anger and irritability, constant negativity, lack of concentration, increased alcohol consumption, chronic pain. Some of that is in our minds.
Mm.
Excessive social media use, and lack of self care. So, please pay attention to that in yourself. It means being aware of who you are and how you move and what you do, what motivates you. It requires you to be aware of yourself. Let's see. Let's see. Miss Durham says there are times when you ask the person how you can support and they may not know in the moment. How can you support them? What questions we should ask and language should we use? Very good question.
That's a good one, Duria.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's often the case also. And what we've discovered as a result of trial and error is to begin asking, um, and I'm going to preface this with saying prayer. If you are a person who is a praying type, not everybody is, but if you are, always pray before intervening or trying to help. And what we've learned is to begin asking, well, what do you like to do? Because on the recovery side of it, and in order to help individuals recover from those conditions, we help them create what we call a toolbox. And one of the first things that we help them do after they've identified triggers, the things that trigger these onsets um, of the feelings and things like that, taking them down into a dark, dark place, is helping them remember and recall things they enjoyed. Those are the actual tools. For personally, for me, music is one of my, it's in my toolbox. When I listen to music, when I dance. So that's one of the questions you can ask is, well, what do you like to do? What do you like to drink or eat? Oftentimes, food deprivation or dehydration will precipitate a person's developing the anxious feelings or the depressed feelings. Those physical malnourishments and things like that can contribute to um, them symptoms of illness cropping up. So find out what the person's, if you can, but if they don't speak, silence. Just be a present, help, just be there presently for them. And we've also gotten like paper and write. Sometimes they will write, what do you like doing? What do you need? Do you want water? Would you like some water? Would you like some juice? Write, and they might, and have the pencil or pen so that they can respond. That is also a trigger, but it's a trigger on the other side to help someone get beyond when they don't know. You can have the kind that will speak, I don't know, or you'll have the kind that won't, they're unresponsive, but they're living, they can hear you and see you. So that's what we've learned has helped. Not 100% of the time, but in many of the cases.
I like that. Sometimes just be silent is good. Sitting there or doing whatever it is that you're doing at that moment. Just be there silently with them. And sometimes they, might prompt them to talk. Just being there, giving them that space and the the opportunity to share whenever they're ready to share. Not pressing, not asking a lot of questions, but just being there, when they're ready. Um,
Yeah,
yeah. Are
because
there
it's
any?
like a computer. You know
Yeah.
how sometimes when your computer has too many apps or and they go like haywire, they're having like a glitch, something going on. Our
Mhm,
brains can be similar to that. And if a person
mhm,
is in crisis, they can't respond to a bunch of questions and stuff. They
mhm.
don't know. So holding that space, Veronica,
Yes.
is a um a very powerful tool and intervention.
Mhm. Absolutely. The video is uploaded on my website under freebies. So when you go to freebies, I did it really quickly. It's not the prettiest, but if you go to freebies, it's going to say gamblers video. and right under it is the link. And so you just click on it and it should play for you. If not, always send either Michelle or myself a message and we'll get it to you quickly.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my email in the where they can request the video in the chat.
Okay. Okay. And anytime you need assistance or help or you need resources, we are both available. You can always reach out to me at info@veronicaburnett.com. You can go to my website and find me there. I'm on Instagram at betterdays.llc and here on Facebook at Veronica Burnett. And yeah, that's it. Just find me here at Veronica Burnett. You can always DM me there. So we are coming up on an hour. Do you have anything else? Oh, you know what we didn't talk about, Michelle, were the myths about.
Good time to share.
Yes. Let's share a little about the myths. And again, I am a teacher in my heart and I have a lot of notes. So I'm going to share my notes. All right. Um, One of the myths is mental health problems don't affect me. And no one thinks that it's going to affect them. I didn't think that I would experience domestic abuse ever because I wasn't that person. I'm the strong one and the one that fights back, but I absolutely did. Um, the fact is, mental health problems are actually very common in our world. Another myth is children don't experience mental health problems. The fact, even very young children may show early warning signs of mental health concerns. Children, pay attention. People with mental health, this is another myth. People with mental health problems are violent and unpredictable. That's a myth. Not all are. The fact is, the vast majority of people with mental health problems are no more likely to be violent than anyone else. Another myth, people with mental health needs, even those who are managing their illness, cannot tolerate the stress of holding down a job. Fact, people with mental health problems are just as productive as other employees. You just don't know who they are. That's why it pays to be nice and sensitive to other people. And I have a couple more. A myth, personality weakness or character flaws cause mental health problems. People with mental health problems can snap out of it if they try hard enough. The fact, mental health problems have nothing to do with being lazy or weak, and many people need help to get better. Uh, the last myth I'm going to share, there is no hope for people with mental health problems. Once a friend or family member develops mental health problems, he or she will never recover. Fact, studies show that people with mental health problems get better and many recover completely. Recovery refers to the process in which people are able to live, work, learn, and participate fully in their communities. There are more treatment services and community support systems than ever before, and they work. So there is hope for everyone. It is out there, and services are provided everywhere. And when you reach out to people like Michelle, people like me, you never know who your next door neighbor is. You reach out to your doctor and you talk to them. Like many times when women, I know when I've gone to see my primary care doctor, every single time I've gone, she has asked me, has anything changed in your living situation? How do you feel emotionally? Do you feel supported? I mean, they ask you a gamut of questions just to see how you are emotionally. And if they find that you are different from the last time, they may require you to get some kind of coaching, some kind of therapy. It doesn't mean that it's long term, but they will, refer you to get help. But you have to be honest when you are talking with them. Um, there was another point I wanted to make, but I completely forgot. Uh, I can't remember now, so I'll just I'll stop there. But just know that you don't know who is suffering from what. And so it pays to be kind. And when you do know, be sensitive to that person. Like Michelle said, be empathetic. Not woe is me, not oh, you poor baby. No, just be there. Being there is so important. Being that village around a friend or loved one who is suffering from mental health is so healthy for them, because that lets them know that they are loved unconditionally. That lets them know that they have support and they can absolutely get through it. And there are people around them that are rooting for them. That feels good. That feels good.
Yep, you made me remember this TED talk I saw about being empathetic to someone who's in a dark place. And I can just describe the illustration. There was a hole, and somebody, one of the characters, I think it was a bear or something, he walked and fell into the hole. Their friend observed it, saw him, and then he went down there and was just looking down in the hole while the friend is down there by themselves, dark hole. The friend went and got a ladder, put the ladder and walked down there and sat with the friend in the hole. That came in my thoughts when you were just saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to just add before this video ends that not only is recovery possible for people who have experienced a mental health disorder, a gambling disorder, or a addiction disorder, um, or substance overuse. Sometimes people overuse substances. It's not necessarily an addiction, but it's overusing it that can become problematic and affect their functioning. Not only is recovery from all of that, and domestic violence too, anything, I call it trauma and drama.
Yes.
It's now expected because of the many resources and information and um, agencies, organizations, professional and community based,
Mm-hmm.
grassroots organizations, advocacy agencies.
Mm-hmm.
Now nobody has to feel ashamed
Mm-hmm.
because the whole world has been impacted
Yes.
and are experiencing some form of a mental health crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no more reason to allow to be ashamed of having those experiences and hiding in the dark by yourself.
Right. You don't ever have to be ashamed.
Yep, you're not alone.
No.
You're not alone.
No.
And many of the professionals have experiences, but by law, because of their training, they cannot disclose that information. I'm gonna share that because I've worked alongside many of them, and it's their training that prevents them from being able to say, to speak how we've spoken about what we've experienced.
Right.
So I say that so that people can feel comfortable getting help with the professionals as well.
But let me add to that though, Michelle, because mental illness does not have it doesn't have a respective person that it hits. Like it's not just someone who is from a poor background. It's not just someone who has seen violence in their lives. It is professionals. It is athletes, actors, singers, celebrities. It is your person next door. It can hit anybody at any time, at any time. And it is important that we know that. And for the professionals like the doctors and the lawyers, and they experience those things. They experience depression. They experience all of different disorders, gambling, overeating, drinking excessively. They experience all of that. But like you said, because of their profession, they can't share that with the their patients.
Right. It's against their ethics.
Hmm. But they can absolutely get help. And I hope that more of them are reaching out and getting help. And I don't know any personally, so I can't even say definitively whether I can't give you a percentage of the people who are experiencing it, but I do know that professionals do, and so it's good to be empathetic to them as well.
Yeah, I learned while working in the psychiatric ward at the hospital and the emergency departments that quite a number of them, that's what drove them into their professions,
Wow.
or they had a loved one
Mhm.
that was near and dear to them that fueled the fire and passion within them to
Mhm.
go into those professions.
Mhm.
Some, many of them, and I won't speak about the others.
Mhm. That's all right. I have one more thing, and then I want you to share how we can stay in touch with you and your upcoming book release. All right. So I really wanted to share this to give even more hope for getting help. And so it's one last myth. And I know I said the last one was the last one, but yeah, I was wrong. Prevention doesn't work. It is impossible to prevent mental illness. That is a myth. Let me read this all to you, and then I'm done talking for now. The fact prevention of mental, emotional, and behavioral disorders focuses on addressing known risk factors such as exposure to trauma that can affect the chances that children, youth, and young adults will develop mental health problems. Promoting the social emotional well-being of children and youth leads to higher overall productivity. That's addressing it. Better educational outcomes, lower crime rates, stronger economies, lower healthcare costs, and we need that, improve quality of health, increased lifespan, and improved family life. If you have no other reasons to get help, think about that next generation that is watching you. When you get help now, it encourages our youth to say, hey, if this person did it at this age, then let me try it now. Let me get help now. If you get help today, then you know how to reach your youth in your community to help them get a better start in life, to help them combat whatever issues they have going on in their lives so that they can have an improved quality of life going forward. That is the mission, to change the trajectory of lives, to create legacies that create generations of wealth, healthy wealth. That's what I'm talking about. Lifespan wealth. That is what I'm talking about. So,
Yeah.
Michelle, tell us how we can stay in touch with you. Tell us about your upcoming book and how we can get that once it hits the the virtual bookstores. However it is, go for it. It's your platform, honey.
Okay, thank you for that inspiration and this opportunity, Veronica. People can stay in touch with me directly by calling the number 202-779-7527, texting that number, also by visiting our website, www.reasonstohope.org. And that's the word reasons with an S, TOHOPE, because you all are reasons. Veronica is a reason. I'm a reason, and everybody attached to us are reasons to hope. So that's the other way. And the email I've already placed in the chat there, info@reasonstohope.org. And also through Facebook, I have Reasons to Hope has a Facebook page, and my personal page, Michell Jackson. But I think there are lots of Michelle Jacksons, but there's only one me, and so it's MJ 2271. You can find me from all of the other thousands or millions of Michelle Jacksons on Facebook. Um, yeah, those are the most common ways to keep in touch with me. We've developed Living Bridges programs, locally designed and originated right here in our DC, that bridge the gaps across the lifespan So we help children as young as 5 to 99. We help the whole gamut of individuals and families recover from the trauma and drama of mental health disorders, substance use disorders, and now gambling. Yeah, the
Thank you, Miss
book
Howard.
is scheduled to be published in June. Veronica and a host of other friends have agreed to pre-read the manuscript or be the first readers that will get the book before it's available to the masses. And I am working hard to finalize that book. I so want to release the title here, but I can't. um, it's my signature story. I'll be sharing and going into more details about some of the drama and trauma that I've experienced, that I have learned a lot from, and have gotten to the other side, and want to share that with others so that they can get to the other side, or share it with others so that they can get to the other side. Because if I can do it, so can you. And that's about it.
That's good.
Oh, pre-orders. We're taking pre-orders for the book. The email address that you have right there, for now, send an email that says, I'm interested in getting the book, and I'll add you to the list so that when it's published and available, you can be notified and get your copy.
Awesome. Thank you for the support, Jay and Doria. Miss Durham, that's what I'm going to say.
Duria.
Doria. Yes.
Thank you, Duria.
So remember, everyone, Michelle Jackson is a name that you want to remember. You want to follow her on social media. You will find Michelle Jackson. Look for that beautiful face, that beautiful smile, and you will find her. Let's see. Reasons to Hope also has a Facebook page, so follow them there. And they've created Living Bridges programs, so you want to find out more about that. And if you want to get information about her upcoming book to pre-order it, send it to info@reasonstohope.org. Send an email there and let them know that you want to be added to the list for the pre-orders, and you will be notified when it is available. Um, let's see, ways to reach her, reach us. You can find me again at veronicaburnett.com. There's great resources on there. My blog is on there. If there's anything that you've missed, I'm going to post a replay. I'm going to send out a recap of this in my newsletter. So if you want to receive the newsletter with all of the information in it from today, along with this video, Michelle will get a copy as well. Just send me a DM at Veronica Burnett here on Facebook. If you're on my Better Days private group, then you can send it to me through there. The Better Days private group, you must request to join. It is not public, hence the word private. But yeah, this has been a great conversation, Michelle, and I thank you so much for sharing your experience and your expertise and what you've learned over the years, and sharing reasons to hope. That I love that. And so, like you said, we are all reasons to hope for a better life, and we can absolutely create that for ourselves. Thank you, everyone
Thank
who
you.
joined us. Another Facebook user says, thanks, Veronica and Michelle. This was
Thank
helpful. I'm so
you.
glad it was. That was the mission, to make it
Thank you,
helpful
Jay.
for everyone. Thank you, Jay and Daria and Simone. Simone is my editor for my 2 books, and
Janet.
she's
There's a
very
lot of
supportive.
people out there, Jeree.
Daria, yeah. There's a couple of Facebook users that to know
Hey,
their name.
I'm gonna go back and respond because
Okay.
I'm still embracing technology. You know, I'm an in-person person.
That's what we do, right? All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for Coffee, Tea, and Me. I don't know when I'm going to do another one live again, but Coffee, Tea, and Me is every second and fourth Saturday of the month. I post a flyer about it, and I post um, the topic. If you have a specific topic that you want to talk about, you can always send me an email at info@veronicaburnett.com, or you can send me a DM, and I'll be happy to talk about it. And again, I'm Veronica Burnett, your speaker, advocate, coach, author, the Better Days coach. And I thank you. You all have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful Mother's Day to all the moms out there. If you're not a mom, your mom to be, love on somebody else. That's it. Love on yourself, love on someone else. We all need love. All right. Ciao for now.
Bye.